Hi there, welcome to the I Ching Cafe. My name is Belinda Dovston, and as always, it is wonderful that you are here with me for our weekly overview for this week, commencing the 8th of August 2022. Remember, if you have not yet done so, our August overview is out, talking about the interesting, gentle progress and penetration to the heart of things and the family that are getting our attention this month, or should get our attention this month in August. So, looking back to last week, we had the small tames or the small accumulates, hexagram 9, okay, drawing our attention to the myriad of small things that are wanting to get us to do some work, to care for them, to look after all the animals and all the plants that are needing to be watered and cared for, and that every little thing is important, all right? Coupled with this idea from our changing line of being yanked back onto the path, okay, despite ourselves. What yanked you back? Was anything course correcting for you last week? What did you become aware of perhaps where you'd got a little bit, off the path, wandered off a little bit? And of course, what family issues, work family, home family, got your attention and needed your attention in the week? All right, so let's have a look at this week. What are we being asked to pay attention to? Our first hexagram is 34, great power, okay? This is a wonderful hexagram of the strong ram surging forward, okay, of power and having the opportunity to push forward and to use your power, use your energy, use this power that you have to move mountains. Okay, so this is not a couch week, okay? This is an action week. This is where we take our power, we use our power, and we forge ahead. Okay, so we've had quite a few weeks of kind of hold back, don't act so brashly, don't go so hardcore. This hexagram is hardcore. Okay, so we can go with energy. There is something in the changing line as a warning, but we'll get to that in a moment. Okay, so getting into our power, understanding our power and seizing our power is a critical part of this hexagram. And when we've had this one before, I shared with you that the idea with power, as I understand it, is we find a middle path. If we use too much power, we become a bully, all right? We push ahead and we force things. And in that process, we hurt other people. If we are avoiding our power, we are fearful of it and we're fearful of what it will ask us to do, we are disempowered and we are not in our own power. And what that means is that we are not able to activate our talents, make headway easily, work with the power that we have. We all have power, and very often it's just about recognizing that power as opposed to that power not being there, right? So if we do have power, we also need to watch how that hurts other people, where we are too hard, where we push forward too much. Let's just be careful of that. I often experience comments from people where they've had accidents, in this time period where they've been going too fast. When we have hexagram 34, going too fast or trying to push something too far and like hurting a hand or having a car ding. All right, these are the types of things where we are pushing too hard. We are using our power, but we've ratcheted it up a little bit too hard and boop, something pops. Okay, so we just have to use our power, be in our power, use the strength that we have just accumulated and we can work with this week to forge ahead. Now, there are two changing lines in the third and the fourth position. Okay, I've spoken to you before that when we hit the third line, okay, because each line has a meaning, it has an energy attached to its position in the structure of the hexagram. When we hit line 3, okay, which is our first changing line for this week, we are in the transition period between the bottom trigram, the bottom 3 lines, and the top 3 lines. So this week, our changing lines are position 3 and 4. So in line 3, we are at the threshold. We are about to cross, okay? It's usually quite a challenging position because we are building up energy of the hexagram, but we haven't yet popped over that chasm between the inner and outer trigrams. And so this changing line says, using brute force in something this week is contraindicated. What we have to do is find our strength in the strategy that we are using. Okay. So power isn't always about brute force. It can also be the power of our strategy. So as we start off this week, one of the little contraindications on this line says we've got power, we can use it, okay, we can go for it. But there's something here where we have to realize that if we're using brute force, we will create entanglement, we'll get tied up in the difficulties of trying to push through a hedge, all right, when the hedge is not ready. We have to use strategy of how we're going to deal with the situation. Okay, so we find our power in strategy this week. Okay, please remember that. And then our next changing line in the 4th position, now we have just transitioned across that boundary. We're in a much stronger position. And this changing line says the obstacle's been overcome. Okay, that little chasm in the middle between the inner and the outer, the bottom and the top. We have crossed that chasm. The obstacles fall away and we can go for it. All right, so the power of this week is there. There's a changing line that says the obstacles fall away and the path opens up for us to go for it. We first have a little bit of strategy that we have to deal with, where we are cautioned about just pushing too hard just yet as we start off the week. Use strategy, and we use that strategy well, and whoop, over the chasm we cross and go for it. Okay, right, wonderful energy for us to work with this week. Our second hexagram is hexagram 19, approach. All right, approach is quite an interesting one. It's like, if I can describe it, and this is a positive description, not something ominous, but it's like an overshadowing that comes, something very powerful and large and significant arrives and emerges. Okay, so it's like a change in the climate where spring arrives and there's kind of like this growth and opportunity that starts to emerge into the winter, that starts to thaw things, but it's like a very powerful energy that's beyond, the bear that's emerging out of the cave, or it's beyond the little plant that's now got water that's melting ice and can now start emerging out of the soil after the long sleep. So it's about this process, this powerful influence that's arriving, that's emerging into our world. And of course, each of these hexagrams have a strategy. How do we deal with this flow of change? And it's by recognizing that there are influences and change coming to us that are beyond us. I mean, this powerful spring energy of this new cycle of growth emerging and arriving after the dark night. Okay, it's beyond the little creatures that are influenced by us. It's beyond us as we are influenced by it, as we feel that spring energy coming in. And our task is just to open ourselves to it, okay, to approach what comes. So for you in your business, what is now emerging? What is this new spring energy that is emerging, this kind of powerful overshadowing of change that is coming? It's not our task to try and figure it out, to try and make it happen, to try and understand it. It's about welcoming what comes and being open to something arriving, usually of a great stature, of a great energy, to us where we are in a smaller energy. Okay. I find this hexagram is one of the harder to get to grips with as a story, and perhaps that's a story in itself of this kind of nebulous, unknown shift coming in. If you think about a little plant, or you think about the bear, or you think about other animals who are very tied into seasonal cycles, they feel the sense of that arriving energy of like the summer is coming, right? The regrowth and the rebirth of the cycle is coming, but we don't understand it. It's just a force that is coming to bring us new energy. So it's a wonderful hexagram, but it's kind of this arrival that we just have to be open to and just be embrace and work with, as opposed to forcing it. So we have kind of this interesting energy of this hexagram 34, this power, use your power, use your strength, take charge, lean into the flow. And we have this kind of, but also this arrival of something that is, unknown and is thawing out and bringing this new energy, but it perhaps is not yet apparent what it is. And our task is to be open to it. Okay, so there might be two different things for you in your business and your personal life. There might be two different facets that you have to work with. Let's just be open and approach the arrival of spring. What a lovely energy for us to work with. Thank you so much. Please like, share, and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you back here on the channel, on the podcast, as new episodes drop. And if you'd like to get a notification of when they do, make sure that particularly on YouTube, that you've hit the little bell icon, that the episode will come into your app as it lands. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the socials as well, and I will see you soon.